Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, Akshay.
Shall we start, sir?
It's 3 o'clock.
Yeah, start ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
Sir. Okay, sir. Kavana?
Okay, sir. Good afternoon. Nachora nacha rajaharyam, na patrabhajam, na cha bharakari. Vaye krute vardat, eva nityam, vidyadanam sarvadana pradhanam. The knowledge cannot be stolen by the thieves, nor it be taken away by the kings. It cannot be divided among brothers. If it is given to others regularly, it always keeps growing. The wealth of a knowledge is the most superior wealth to all. By these words, let's begin today's session. I, Kavana from Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Hubli. I extend a warm welcome to all the dignitaries and the participants to Kriya Sharira webinar series Kriya Pradipika 2020. Without wasting our time, let's begin today's session. First and foremost, I would like to call Harshita to introduce our today's guest speaker, Dr. Prashant Kekuda sir, Government Ayurveda Medical College and Teaching Hospital, Shimoga. Now, sir is going to speak on a concept of understanding of the Ahara Paka and digestion and metabolism in Ayurveda. Over to Harshita.
Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Harshita. I welcome you all to Kriya Pradipika National Webinar 2020, organized by Department Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya and Hospital, Hubli. I have been given an opportunity to introduce our guest speaker of today's webinar. It is my honor to introduce our guest, Dr. Prashant Kekuda TR Sir. Sir has pursued his undergraduation from SDM College of Ayurveda, Udupi in 2001 and completed MD from Department of Kriya Sharir from Government Ayurveda Medical College, Kerala in 2006. Sir started teaching in 2006 and continuing till now. Sir has taught UG students in Bapuji Ayurveda Medical College, Shimoga, ALN ARM, ANC Kutta, Parasini Kaduvu Ayurveda Medical College, Kerala, SDM College of Ayurveda, Hassan, and presently working in Government Ayurveda Medical College and Teaching Hospital, Shimoga. Sir has also taught PG students at SDM College of Ayurveda, Hassan from 2011 to 2019. Sir has also presented various scientific papers regarding Kriya Sharira topics in various seminars and various scientific journals. I heartily welcome you, sir. We are gladly looking forward to your session. Over to Dr. Prashant, sir.
Okay, thank you, Kavana and Harshita. So let me begin with the session today. Hope everybody is seeing the screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Dr. Akshay was speaking to me and he told me to choose a topic, but I left Akshay for his choice. So he gave me the topic as understanding the process of Aharapaka with relation to the understanding of digestion and metabolism in Ayurveda. So today we'll speak about it, or we will have a small discussion about it. See, Ahara Paka is almost equivalent to the digestion of food, what we are going to take, and how this digestion happens, and what happens to the food that is digested, and how it is going to be assimilated into the body, and how it will lead to the sustenance of the body. So that will be the today's topic. Today, I don't compare the Ayurvedic topics with the modern things, but today we will limit ourselves to understanding this Ahara Paka at the level of Ayurveda only. And if time permits, we will also have a small discussion about how it can be interpreted with the modern aspects. So we will begin with Ahara Paka. So today we will have all these things, a small introduction, then the anatomical aspect, that is the Rachana Sharira aspects of the Ahara Paka, then Kriya Sharira aspects of the Ahara Paka, and what is the exact process of Ahara Paka with the stages like Avastha Paka and Vipaka. And after this Ahara Paka at a base level, what is the further process that is going to happen inside our body? So these are the few topics that we are going to cover in today's session. Okay, actually, our body needs supplementation of various factors. So, such as it can be anything, or according to Ayurveda, we say it as the Shadrasa Yukta Ahara is needed for our body every day. That means the complete food or the balanced food, in according to Ayurveda, means it should comprise of all the 6 rasas in a balanced way. So we have to take the food as well as the air, so which is present in our atmosphere. So these two are the most basic requirement of the body, because they are required to make up the loss due to daily normal or abnormal wear and tear. Normal wear and tear, daily we are using the energy for various purposes. So that's why there will be so many metabolic things that are happening inside our body that will lead to some of the wearing or tearing of the body. Abnormal means due to some disease process or due to some accidents, etc. There may be some abnormal wear and tear. To replenish those things also, we require so many factors. And also for the growth and development, if the person is in early ages. So for these two purposes, we require supplementation of various factors in our body. Okay, one factor which is supplemented every second is the air. The air means here you can consider it as oxygen. So that is totally a different entity. And the second thing what you can take every day is nothing but the food. That is ahara. So that's why it is told Arogyam Bhojanadini. So Arogya is responsible for, Arogya is maintained by Bhojana. That is food. Deho hi ahara sambhavaha. So without ahara, the deha or the human body cannot be sustained, or it is formed from the ahara itself. And bala yushihi aharayate. That means bala and ayu of a person depends on the ahara. So because ahara is having so much importance, its processing is also very much important. So that's why ahara paka, that is digestion as well as absorption of the foodstuffs, is essential for human life. Okay, not only for human, for all the animals, this ahara, that is whatever the food you are going to take, that has to be digested and the nutritive portion should be absorbed. Okay, according to Ayurveda, everything is formed out of 5 Mahabhutas. Everything is formed out of 5 Mahabhutas, and we require all these 5 Mahabhutas to our body to supplement the Mahabhutas which are present in our body. So, whatever the food we are going to take, it is also having 5 Mahabhuta, and we have to convert this food into such manner so that our body tissues can easily absorb them. Okay. Simply saying, the definition of digestion is, it is just breaking down the complex food particles into simpler food particles or monomers. So the polymers are broken down into monomers so that it can be easily absorbed. And in Ayurveda also, it is the same thing, but here we are going to think about the Panchamahabhutas. So everything in our body is also formed out of Panchamahabhuta, and every food what you are going to take, including water, is also made up of Panchamahabhutas. So what you are going to do is, you are going to break down all these food materials into respective Panchamahabhutas at various levels, and it will be fed to the dhatus. Okay, why ahara is needed? Ahara is needed for the supplementation of various factors in your body, and ahara is needed for nourishment. It is needed for nourishment. Nourishment of all the body factors. It includes doshas, dhatus, and malas. So all the dosha, dhatu, mala are having their own functions in the body. So they should be nourished. They should be nourished. So dosha should also be nourished, dhatu should also be nourished, and mala should also be nourished. That means everything which is having some degradation should be supplemented with the required Mahabhuta portions. So that's why you require food in proper quantity as well as quality. So Aharapaka, it is nothing but the digestion process inside the body. And classically in Ayurveda, it is compared with cooking the rice or cooking the foodstuff along with different other water, etc., by the usage of fire. So as you can see in the picture, it is nothing but understanding the cooking of the food which is done inside the body. So basically speaking, our digestion do not start from our mouth. It starts from your cooking process outside your body, just as you can see in the picture. So how do you cook the food? We do not eat the food in a raw sense, but we cook the food and we help our body to digest it very easily. Okay, that is a secondary process, but time being for our classical textbook version of the things, we will go to Ahara Paka. So Ahara Paka, it is the digestion process happening inside the body. That means you are going to break down the complex food materials, complex Panchabhautika food materials into simpler ones so that it can be easily absorbed as well as it can be easily assimilated into the various dhatus. See, remember, dhatus means here you can include the doshas, dhatus, as well as malas, all the things. Okay, what is ahara? Aharyate galat adoniyate iti ahara. This is a simple definition. Aharyate galat adoniyate iti ahara. So ahara is the one which goes through your throat in a downward direction, which goes towards your koshta, which goes towards the amashaya. So that is ahara. But ahara is very important. Why? Because praninam punaha moolam aharo. So the moola or the basis for all the life is ahara because it is responsible for bala, varna and ojas of the body. Means for all the functions of the body, this ahara is essential. So and it is sa shatsu raseshu ayataha. So it is having 6 rasas. Ahara can have 6 rasas. Okay, now I don't go in detail with the ahara because you may be studying about the ahara, about the types of ahara, etc. in a good manner. So we will skip all those things and we will directly go towards the anatomical aspects. Anatomical aspects of ahara paka. That means the body parts involved in the process of ahara paka. So here, which body parts are involved? It is nothing but koshta. Koshta is the body part which is taking or which is having the function of ahara paka. Now this can include the parts of koshta, that is different organs that come across that come in koshta, as well as one more important thing, the kalas. Kala means the membranes, the different membranes in the koshta. There are 2 important membranes of the koshta which are helpful in the ahara paka. We'll see about these later. Okay, physiological aspects of ahara paka. Physiological aspects of ahara paka. The physiological factors which are responsible for the digestion process are 6. They are also classically known as ahara parinamakara bhavas. They are 6 in number. And they are Agni, Vayu, Kleda, Sneha, Kala and Samayoga. Agni, it is the most important Mahatma which can lead to changes in the body. Vayu, which can help in the movements. Kleda and Sneha, which can impart some softness to the foodstuffs. Kala is the time factor. And Samayoga are the different factors related to food as well as food intake. So all these ahara parinamakara bhavas, that is the factors which are responsible for digestion process. We'll see about this one by one, but most important factor is Agni, because without telling anything about Agni, I cannot move further. Okay, what is Agni? Agni is a Mahabhuta. Simply saying, Agni is a Mahabhuta. And most important property of Agni is Ushna as well as Rupa. So it is hot or it can give you temperature, that is Ushnata. And it can give you Rupa, a definite shape or a definite seeable shape to the body. Now, classically speaking, Agni is a Mahabhuta which is having the property to create any change. So, if you are seeing any change in anything, that is mainly because of Agni Bhuta. So, Agni is a Mahabhuta which can bring about any change anywhere. So, that's why for any type of digestion, you require Agni. You require Agni. Now, in our body, Agni is present as Pitta. Agni is not directly visible to you people, but Agni is present as Pitta. So, you have a classical shloka from Charaka Samhita Sharirasthana 12th chapter, that is Vatakalakalaya. Here, Agni Reva Sharire Pitta Antargata. Agni is present in the body as Pitta, or it is incorporated in the Pitta. Kupita Kupitaha Shubha Shubhani Karoti. So if it is Kupita, if it is aggravated, it will cause Ashubha effects. And if it is Akupita, that is in normal state, then it will lead to Shubha, that is beneficial aspects to the body. Tadyata, for example, Pakti Apaktim, Darshanam Adarshanam, Matra Amatratvam Ushmanaha, Prakriti Vikriti Varnam, Shauryam Bhayam, Krodam Harsham, Moham Prasada. So all these are the uh, twin effects of Kupita and Akupita Pitta. So if Pitta is Kupita, then it will lead to Apakti, improper digestion. If it is Akupita, then it will lead to Pakti, that is proper digestion. So Pitta is present in our body as a dosha, and this Pitta is having Agni inside it. Pitta is having Agni inside it. So that's why different types of Pitta may have different combination of Agni. So Agni Reva Sharire Pitta Antargataha. In our body, Agni is present as Pitta. So what is the importance of Agni? It is given in Charaka Samhita Chikitsasthana 15th chapter. So Agni is responsible for all these beneficial effects in the body. It is Ayu. If you want a longer life, then you should have good Agni. Varna, Bala, Swasthya health, Utsaha, the enthusiasm, Upachaya, the nourishment, Prabha, it is related to the Tvak, Ojas, Tejas, all these are related with Agni. That means if you want or if you are having a good Agni, then you will have Ayu, Varna, Bala, Swasthya, etc. That's why Shante Agnom Riyate. Shante Agnom Riyate. If the Agni becomes Shanta, if Agni becomes functionless, then there will be Marana. The person will die. Yukte Chiram Jivati Anamaya. If the Agni is in proper condition, then the person will live a long life without any problems. Rogi Syat Vikrute. So if Agni is not good, or if the Agni is having Vikruti, if there is some disorder in the Agni, then the person will be Rogi. That means there will be diseases. Moolam Agnihi Tasmat Niruchyate. So that's why Agni is considered to be the Moola of the body. Agni is considered to be the Moola of the body. So this is the importance of Agni. So Agni should be there in your body along with, that is incorporated in Pitta, and it should be constantly functional. Otherwise there will be Marana, or the person, if he wants to alive, then Agni should be in a good condition. Then if it is in very good condition, then there will be long life without any problems. And if there is some problem in the Agni, then there will be diseases. So that's why Agni is considered to be the Moola of the body. That's why Kaya Chikitsa is also known as Agni Chikitsa. Kaya Chikitsa can also be known as Agni Chikitsa, because in Kaya Chikitsa we believe that most of the diseases are happening because of improper Agni. So that's why treating the Agni is important for any diseases related to Kaya Chikitsa. Okay. Okay, classification of Agni. Classification is based on metabolic location. So depending on metabolic location, you have three main types, and totally there are 13 types of Agni. Three main types of Agni are Jataragni, Bhutagni, and Dhatvagni. Remember, Jataragni is only one type, Bhutagni is of 5 types, and Dhatvagni is of 7 types. So this is the types of Agni based on their metabolic locations. Whereas there is a physiological classification of Agni also, that is classification of Pachaka Pitta or classification of Jataragni itself. This is of four types: Samagni, Vishamagni, Mandagni, and Tikshna. These are four types of Agni depending on the physiological function or the functional classification of Agni. And also, if you see about Pitta, the types of Pitta, you can again classify the Agni into five types. You can classify the Agni as Pachakagni, Ranjakagni, etc. The five types of Agni. So, depending on the location or the functions or incorporation into various types of Pitta, you can have various classifications of Agni. But when we come across with the Ahara Pakakrama, so we are going to see the three important types of Agni, that is Jatragni, Bhutagni, and Dhatwagni. So one type of Jatragni, five types of Bhutagni, and seven types of Dhatwagni. Okay, most important type of Agni is Jataragni. So this Jataragni is also known as Kayagni or Antaragni or Pachakapita. So these are the three synonyms of Jataragni. And location of this Jataragni is Amashaya as well as Grahani. Most important location will be Grahani. And Amashaya is also a location. And this is of only one type. So there is a famous shloka about Jataragni or Pachakapita, that is in the Ashtanga Hridaya Sutrasthana. Tatra pakva mashaya madhyagam panchabhutatmakatve api yat taijasa gunodayat त्यक्त द्रवत्वं पाकादि कर्मणा अनल शब्दितं पचत्यन्नं विभजते सारकिटो पृथक् तथा तत्रस्थमेव पित्तानां शेषाणामपि अनुग्रहं करोति बलदानेन पाचकं नाम तत्स्मृतम्. So this is a classical or most important shloka about Jataragni. Location is Pakwa Amashaya Madhya, that is classically you can consider it as Grahani. Then this is formed out of Panchamahabhutas, but there is most predominance of Tejo Mahabhuta. There is the predominance of Tejo Mahabhuta. So that's why there will be Tyakta Dravatva. Even though the Dravatva or all the five Mahabhutas are present, the extent of Drava or the Jala Mahabhuta is very minimal. And this will do all the Pakadi karmas. This will do all the digestion functions. And this is also known as Anala. Jataragni is also known as Anala. This is a synonym for Agni. Functions are Pachatyanam, digestion of food. Vibhajate Sara Kitto Prutak, it separates Sara and Kitta. It is the nutritive part and excretory parts. And also Tatrasthameva Pittanam Sheshanam api Anugraham. It also gives strength to different types of Pittas or Agnis in the body. And Karoti Baladanena Pachakam Nama Tatsmita. Because of its function, it improves the Bala of the person. So this is Jataragni. And this is the most important type of Agni. And also this is the first Agni which comes across the foot. This is the first Agni which will be functioning with the food for its Paka. Okay, next we have one more type of Agni known as Bhutagnis. So this is located near Koshta or Grahani. Exact location is not given in the textbooks. And there are five types of Bhutagni. So depending on the five Mahabhutas, that is Prithvi, Ap, Tejo, Vayu and Akasha, you are having five types of Bhutagni. And they function on the foodstuffs or on the Ahara Rasa after the action of Jataragni. Okay. So what is its function? We will see later. Okay, this shloka is also important for the exams. Bhaumagneya Vayavya Panchoshmana Sanadasaha Panchahara Gunan Swan Parthivadi Pachanti. So this respective Bhutagni will lead to further digestion of the respective parts of the food. Is once Ahara Rasa is formed, Prithvi Bhutagni will lead to further digestion of Prithvi Amsha of the food. Up Bhutagni will lead to further digestion of Up Mahabhuta portions of the food. So like this, all the five Bhutagnis will function according to that. One more type of Agni is Dhatvagni. Dhatvagni, it is located near Dhatus or the respective Srotas of the Dhatus. You have seven Dhatvagnis according to the seven Dhatus, that is Rasa Dhatvagni, Rakta Dhatvagni, etc., up to Shukra Dhatvagni. So seven Dhatvagnis are there. which are responsible for assimilation of all the nutritive factors which are already processed by Bhutagni. So now these Dhatvagnis, they absorb respective portions of the 5 Mahabhutas required for the nourishment of a particular Dhatu. So Rasadhatvagni will take up all the 5 Mahabhuta portions required for the nourishment of Rasadhatu. So like this, Dhatvagni are 7 in number and they are having functions which are related to the particular Dhatus. The Rasadhatvagni is having function on Rasadhatu or the metabolism of Rasadhatu. So these are 3 important types of Agnis which are responsible for Ahara Paka. Now what you have to remember is the Jataragni acts on the food first, and after that Bhutagni will act on the food, that is Ahara Rasa, and finally there will be action of Dhatvagni. So but without any of these Agnis, the proper digestion will not happen. But first is Jataragni, then Bhutagni, and finally Dhatvagni. So Jataragni Paka is comparatively simpler, Bhutagni Paka is a bit complicated, and Dhatvagni is much more complicated. Okay, now we will come to the anatomical aspects, that is Koshta. Koshta is nothing but an anatomical part, where various organs are present. So if you see Sushruta Samhita, Chikitsa Sthana, second chapter, the Koshta is defined as Sthanani, Ama Agni Pakvanam, Mutrasya Rudirasya cha, Hrud Undukaha Puppusascha, Koshta ityabhidiyate. So according to Sushruta, Koshta is nothing but, this is a place where Amashaya, Agniashaya, Pakvashaya, Mutrashaya, Rudirashaya, Hrudaya, Unduka and Puppusa. So these are present. That means there are around 8 organs in the Koshta according to Sushruta. Whereas Charaka says that there are 15 Koshtangas. Charaka says that there are 15 Koshtanga, Panchadasha Koshtanga. Which are those? Nabhischa, Hrudayamcha, Klomacha, Yakrucha, Plihacha, Vrkocha, etc. etc. So there are 15 Koshtangas. So again, this is also almost similar. So as you can see in this picture, so the picture on the left side will give you or will show you all the Koshtangas, including Puppusa, Amashaya, Pakvashaya, Hrudaya, everything is there. Unduka, all the things are. Okay, Koshtaha Punaruchyate. Koshta is also known as Mahasrotas, Sharira Madhya, Mahanimna, Ama Pakvashaya. So these are the Koshta Paryayas or the synonyms of the Koshtas, and it is also known as Abhyantara Roga Marga. It is also known as Abhyantara Roga Marga. Okay, there are 3 Roga Margas, Shaka, Marmastha Sandhis and Koshta. So Koshta is also known as Abhyantara Roga Marga. And most important thing is Koshta is a particular location where all these organs are present. So now which are the organs? The Puppusa, Amashaya, Pakvashaya, every organ including together, including the Unduka and Puppusa, everything, it is considered as Koshta. Okay, which are the structures that are involved in Ahara Paka? So Hrudaya is not directly involved. So because Puppusa is also not involved. So that's why there are only few organs which are related with Ahara Paka. The most important parts are the Mukha, the oral cavity, then the Amashaya. Amashaya is a place where Ama Ahara is stored, where the undigested food is stored. So you can definitely compare it with the stomach. You can compare it with stomach. There is no problem with comparison of Amashaya with the stomach. Okay, we can say that stomach is Amashaya, but the whole Amashaya may not be stomach always. Okay. Then Grahani. Grahani is the continuation of Amashaya. So Grahani can be considered as only duodenum, or the whole small intestine can also be considered as Grahani. And Pakvashaya is the place where Pakva Ahara is stored. Pakvashaya, where Pakva Ahara is stored. So this can be compared with the large intestine. And if you see the Charakas Kostangas, he says that Sukshma Antra, Sthula Antra, two antras are there. So they can also be considered as the areas where Ahara Paka is going to happen. Now, according to Ayurveda, if you want to understand any physiology, then you must also understand which are the doshas that are present in these areas. So most important area are Mukha. Mukha is a place where you are having pranavayu. So that's why Mukha is responsible for all the mastication process and deglutition process. So Mukha is the area where pranavayu is present. Then Amashaya is the area where you are having Kledaka kapha, which is responsible for digestion, as well as, according to some textbooks, there may be Agni also. There can be Agni also. Grahani is a classical place where there is presence of Agni or Jataragni. Grahani is the place where Jataragni is present. Now, Grahani is the area in between Amashaya and Pakvashaya. Grahani is the area in between Amashaya and Pakvashaya. So that's why Grahani can be considered as duodenum if you are considering Grahani as a small part. But if you do not consider Grahani as a small part, then the small intestine can be considered as Grahani. Again, there are some gaps in understanding the physiology of Ahara Paka in Ayurveda because of lack of some of the explanations in the olden textbooks. So even though we may not fill the gap right now, but just think about those things. Okay. Amashaya, where Ama Ahara is stored, Grahani is the particular place of Pitta, as well as Samana Vayu is also present in Grahani, and there will be proper digestion of food here. Pakvashaya is the place where there will be more absorption, and there will be separation of Sara and Kitta, and Sara will be absorbed. And whatever the Kitta portion is there, that will be taken for excretion. So here you are having more amount of Vata dosha, especially the Vyana Vayu as well as the Apana Vayu. Vyana Vayu helps in absorption, whereas Apana Vayu helps in excretion. So these are the most important structures that are involved in Ahara Paka. Okay, since we are thinking about Koshta is also of three types. That is Mridu Koshta, Krura Koshta, and Madhyama Koshta. Rather, this is a functional classification. This is also a functional classification. It is not an anatomical classification. So Mridu means where there will be more amount of Pitta. So here the person can go for Virechana even by drinking the milk. That means the Koshta will be more sensitive. So simply saying, in Mridu Koshta, the movements are very sensitive. The movement of the intestines or whatever the ashayas are there, it will be very sensitive. Bahuvata Shleshma Krura. If there is more amount of Vata and Shleshma, the Koshta will be Krura. That means there will be no much movements, even by giving some medicines. So that's why it is Durvirechya. Whereas Samadosho Madhyama, Sa Sadharana, and it is somewhat moderate, or it is in between Krura and Mridu. So here, only by the Dugdha or only by the milk there will not be Virechana, whereas by taking some medicines or by taking a good amount of Ahara, the person can have Virechana. So that is Madhya Koshta. Okay, deciding the Koshta is important to determine Prakriti also, as well as it is more important in the Panchakarma procedures, as well as to understand the dietary needs of the persons. So this is about physiological types of Koshta. Anyway, this is not so much important right now for our study. Okay, anatomically, there is one more terminology, that is Annavaha Srotas. What is Annavaha Srotas? Srotas means any channel which is carrying the partially digested or Parinamam Apadyamananam Dhatunam Abhivahini Bhavati. So, Srotas will be carrying the transforming tissues or transforming things. So, here Annavaha Srotas is related to Anna or Ahara. So this is a Srotas where there will be transformation of Ahara. Means where there will be digestion of the food. So this Annava Srotas is nothing but the koshta. That is from Mukha up to the anus. It is Annavaha Srotas. Now, most important thing, the kalas in the koshta. Kala means it is dhatu ashaya antarmaryada. Kala means dhatu ashaya antarmaryada. That is the membranes which are present in some of the organs. So there are 7 types of kalas in the whole human body. There are 7 kalas in the whole human body. But in the koshta, we are having 2 types of kalas. One is pittadara kala and second one is purishadara kala. Pittadara kala is present in the grahani. Pittadara kala is present in the grahani, and this is responsible for digestion of all the types of food. This is responsible for digestion of all types of the food. Whereas Purishadara kala is responsible for division of Sara and Kitta. Purishadara kala is responsible for division of Sara and Kitta, and this is present in Pakvashaya. This is present in Pakvashaya. So Pittadara kala, it is a membrane present in Grahani, and this is responsible for digestion of all the types of food which is coming from Amashaya. And after digestion, so this Pittadara kala will lead to evacuation of the food into Pakvashaya. Now in Pakvashaya, you have one more kala known as Purishadara kala. So this is responsible for division of Sara and Kitta. And after that, Sara will be absorbed and Kitta will be excreted. So these are 2 important kalas or membranes in the koshta, responsible for digestion and absorption of the food. Okay, after all these things, now we will come to the process of Ahara Paka. The process of Ahara Paka, or in Sanskrit, Ahara Paka Krama. Ahara Paka Krama. Charaka explains this Ahara Paka Krama only with the help of these 6 lines of shloka. It is given in Charaka Samhita Chikitsasthana 15th chapter. And if you are UG students or PG students, okay, you by heart this shloka. This is the most important shloka. Annam adana karmatu pranaha koshtam prakarshati. So after ingestion of anna, that is food, the pranavayu takes the food to the koshta. Koshta means here we can understand it as amashaya. Tat dravaihi binna sangato snehina mridutagata. So in koshta you are having dravatva and sneha. Drava and sneha, which are provided by kledaka kapha in amashaya, that will lead to disintegration of food, that is binna sangata of the food, and mruduta, and it imparts softness in the food. Now after this, samanaina avaduto agnihi udaryaha pavanenatu. The samana vayu will lead to agni udirana. It will lead to agni udirana. That means it kindles or it initiates the agni for the digestion of food. Samana vayu in koshta, that is near the grahani, it will lead to agni udirana or agni avaduta. Avaduta means it is kindling the agni, or it will be initiating the agni for digestion. Then kale bhuktam samam samyak pachati ayu vivruddhaya. So after particular time, whatever the food has been taken, it will be properly digested, and it will lead to ayu vivruddhi. Ayu, that is, it will increase the lifespan. Evam rasamalaya annam ashayastam adastitaha pachati agni. So in this way, the ahara which is taken to amashaya will be digested by the agni which is present in the grahani. That is, amashaya is present in the upper aspect, whereas grahani is present in the lower aspect. So the agni present in the lower aspect will lead to digestion of the food which is present in the upper aspect. And this is just similar to sthalyam vodanaya ambutandula. Okay, I had shown you a picture of pressure cooker and fire. So it is also the similar thing. So you have kept some foodstuff in the sthali. Sthali, it is a vessel filled up of vodana. Vodana, that is some grains. And with the help of ambu, with the help of some water, The food will be cooked because of the Agni which is present below. And here also similarly, the food which is present in the Amashaya will be digested by the Agni present in the Grahani. Okay, now what is the role of Ahara Parinamakara Bhavas? Ahara Parinamakara Bhavas, the factors related to food digestion. Now, the most important thing is in this shloka, Koshta. So, all these procedures are happening in Koshta. Okay, we had told that there are 6 Ahara Parinamakara Bhavas: Agni, Vayu, Leda, Sneha, Kala, and Samayoga. Agni means it is the Jataragni. Agni means it is the Jataragni which is present in the Grahani area, that is below Amashaya. And Agni is the most important factor for the digestion of food. So it will lead to paka of all the food what you have taken. But its action will not start at the beginning. Okay, remember this. The function of the Agni will not start in the beginning, but it will start only after the food reaches Grahani Pradesha. Okay, then the second factor was Vayu. So here Vayu means you can include Pranavayu as well as Samanavayu. Pranavayu as well as Samanavayu. Pranavayu is present in the Shira Pradesha, or you can consider it as Mukha Pradesha. So whatever the mastication and deglutition things that are happening in the Mukha, everything is related with Pranavayu. So Pranavayu helps in mastication as well as deglutition of the food which you have taken. And then Pranavayu brings the food towards Koshta, that is Amashaya, it will take the food. Now in Amashaya, there is Dravatva and Snehatva because of Kledaka Kapha. Amashaya is having Kledaka Kapha, and that will have some effect on the food. So Dravatva of the Kledaka Kapha will lead to disintegration of the food, whereas Sneha of the Kledaka Kapha will lead to Rudutva of the food. Now, because the food has come to the Amashaya and also it has become disintegrated and it has attained some softness, now it is very much easy for the Agni to digest the food. So after this, there will be application of Agni. Now, Vayu in the Ahara Parinamakara Bhava will have 2 aspects here. One is whatever the movements that are happening inside your Mukha as well as also inside the Amashaya. Everything is because of Pranavayu. And second thing, Samanavayu. Samanavayu is responsible for initiation of the Agni for the digestion. And Samanavayu is also responsible for all the movements and separation of Sara and Kitaba. So these are 2 important aspects of Vayu, which can function as Ahara Parinamakara Bhavas, that is Pranavayu and Samanavayu. So now Agni digests, but you require some time for this. So time is always required, and proper amount of time is also very important. For the proper digestion of the food, it requires around 12 hours. It requires 12 hours. So that is proper time of digestion of food. And Kale Bhuktam Samam Samyak. So Samam Samyak here means Bhuktam Samam Samyak. So the food has to be taken in the right way. So this is the most important thing. If you are not going to take the food according to the right way, then it can lead to difficulty in digestion. It can lead to difficulty in digestion, or there may be some problems in the digestion. Now, if the food is not taken in proper time as well as proper way, then it will not give the benefit of Ahara Paka. Okay, the most important benefit of Ahara Paka is Ayu Vriddhi, that is increase in the lifespan. And if you are not going to take food in the proper way, then Ayu Vriddhi may not happen. Okay, these are the 6 Ahara Parinamakara Bhavas and their implication on the Ahara Parinama. And simile given is how you are going to cook the food with the help of fire and a vessel along with water. Similarly, inside your body also, the ahara will be digested in the same way. So here digestion means here ahara will be, the complex ahara will be brought into simpler absorbable sarabha. Okay. Okay, now that whatever the shloka was there, that was the simplest explanation of the Ahara Paka, but this Ahara Paka is having some stages. Ahara Paka is having some stages. There is some stages of digestion. So there are three stages of digestion, and we call such stages as Avastha Paka. Avastha, that is stages, Paka, related to digestion, the stages of digestion. So Avastha Paka can also be called as Pachanam Pakaha. So this is Pachanam Pakaha means the stages related with digestion. Three stages: Madhura Avastha Paka, Amla Avastha Paka, and Katu Avastha Paka. Madhura, Amla, and Katu. In Madhura Avastha Paka, there will be it is a stage where there will be Avidagdaha Kapha, or Avidagda Kapha will be formed. Whereas in Amla Avastapaka, there will be, it is predominant of Pitta. The stage is having impact of Pitta. So that's why there will be some Vidagda Avastha. Partially digested food will be there. And finally, during Katu Avastapaka, there will be predominance of Vayu. So in Madhura Avastapaka, predominance of Kapha, Amla, Pitta, and Katu, Vayu. So these three doshas will be predominant in these three stages of digestion. So these stages are divided according to the rasa which is getting digested as well as the time factor. The first one is Madhura Avastapaka. The shloka is given in Charaka Chikitsasthana 15th chapter. Annasya bhukta matrasya shad rasasya prapakataha madhura adyat kapo bhavat fena bhutam udiryate. Whatever the food you are going to take, everything is made up of 5 Mahabhuta, but for our simplicity or for our taste predominance, we are going to divide it as Shad Rasa Yukta Ahara. So every Ahara should contain all the 6 rasas. Now this Madhura Avastapaka starts very early, that is Annasya Bhukta Matrasya. Immediately after taking the food, there will be starting of Madhura Avastapaka. So, and here the location is usually Amashaya. The location of this Avastapaka or this stage is Amashaya. And Madhura Ahara is digested in this phase. Madhura Ahara is digested in this phase. And speciality is Fena Bhutam Kafo Udiryate. Fena Bhuta Kafa Udirana. This Fena Yukta Kafa Udirana, that is secretion, will be there. Means there will be immediate secretion of lot of juices. Lot of juices will be there in the Madhura Avastha Paka. Second one is Amla Avastha Paka. Paramtu Pachamanasya Vidagdasya Amla Bhavataha Ashaya Chavamanasya Pitta Machamudiri. So after Madhura Avastha Paka, when the food goes to the Grahani, that is Pachamana Ashaya, that is in between Amashaya and Pakvashaya, whatever the organ is there, you can take it as Grahani. Then the second stage of digestion will start. This stage is known as Amla Avastapaka because Amla Ahara are digested in this phase, and also the food attains Vidagda state, that is partially digested state, and there will be more Amlata in the Koshta. There will be more and more Amlata in the Koshta. And speciality of this thing is there will be Acha Pitta Udirana. There will be Acha Pitta secretion of Acha Pitta. See, Acha Pitta and the Kapha, which you had seen in Madhura Avastapaka, they are not the exact doshas, but there are some modified aspect of Kapha as well as Pitta here. So here Acha Pitta means it is just simply Pitta, which is having a yellowish color. So that will be secreted. This is Amla Avastapaka, the second Avastapaka. And the last Avastapaka or the final Avastapaka is Katu Avastapaka. Pakvashayam tu praptasya shosyamanasya vandina paripindita pakvasya vayuhu syat katu bhavata. So here when the food after getting digested in the Amla Avastapaka comes to Pakvashaya, then there will be Katu Avastapaka. So location of this Avastapaka is Pakvashaya. So here Katu, Tikta, Kashaya, Rasa, Ahara are digested, and Vayu will be predominant in this phase. That is Vata dosha will be predominant in this phase, and the food which is completely digested may appear like pinda in shape because most of the sara will be absorbed in this state. So by the completion of Katu Avastapaka, the feces will be formed, which which may appear like pinda. So these are three stages of digestion: Madhura Avasthapaka, Amla Avasthapaka, and Katu Avasthapaka. So what are the end products? End products of the digestion are two. One is Sarabhaga and second one is Kittabhaga. Sarabhaga means it is the nutritive portion which is sukshma in nature, which is minute in nature, so that it can get absorbed by the koshta immediately. Sarabhaga is the nutritive portion which gets absorbed and which is very sukshma, the minute portions. Whereas Kittabhaga, this is non-nutritive portion and this is going to get excreted. This is going to get excreted. So final end products of the digestion are two, Sara and Kitta. Okay, here you have one more type of verb, that is Vipaka. Vipaka. Vishishtapako Vipakaha. Vishishtapako Vipakaha. So Vipaka means it is the final end product of the taken food. It is the final end product of the taken food. For example, whatever the food you take, so what is the final outcome? That is Vipaka. See, remember, Avasthapaka are just stages of the digestion, whereas Vipaka is the end product. Vipaka is the end product. Okay, anyway, we have told that end products are two types, but here Vipaka we are considering only Sara. Sara of any food is considered to be the Vipaka. That is the final transformation of the food. So definition, you have two-line shloka from Ashtanga Hridaya. Jatarena Agnina Yogat Yadudeti Rasantaram Rasanam Parinamante Sa Vipaka iti Smrita. So you have taken any food that undergoes transformation with the help of Jataragni, and whatever the final product is formed, that is known as Vipaka. So here, because we are seeing the foodstuffs, we are going to assess the foodstuffs with the help of rasas. We say that you have to take 6 rasas in the food. And finally, what happens to all these 6 rasas, and only usually 1 or 2 rasas will be dominant. So that is known as Vipaka. So that's why we are having 3 types of Vipaka: Madhura Vipaka, Amla Vipaka, and Katu Vipaka. Madhura Vipaka, usually, commonly, all the Madhura and Lavana Rasa Yukta Dravyas will undergo Madhura Vipaka. Okay. See, all the Madhura and Lavana Rasa Yukta Dravyas will undergo all the stages of digestion. That is, Madhura Avasthapaka, Amla Avasthapaka, Katu Avasthapaka will happen. And after that, finally, what is the rasa of that particular thing is, that is Vipaka. So you are going to take milk. Milk is having Madhura rasa, and after all the 3 stages of digestion, finally also it is having Madhura rasa itself. So that is known as Madhura Vipaka. So like that, Amla Vipaka and Katu Vipaka. Usually all the Amla rasa dravyas will undergo Amla Vipaka, and all the Katu Tikta Kashaya rasas will undergo Katu Vipaka. So for example, if you take Shunthi, then after all the digestive process, all the 3 stages of digestion, finally the rasa of Sarabhaga of Shunthi will be Katu itself. That is known as Katu Vipaka. But there may be some exceptions. For example, if you take a drug known as Pippali, then it is having Katu rasa initially. If you take that drug, then it is having Katu rasa. But after all the digestion, it can go for Madhura Vipaka. That means finally it will go for Madhura Vipaka. So such exceptions will also be there. So Vipaka is the final transformation of the Sara of a particular food. So after undergoing all the transformations with the help of all the Agni, etc., or all the Ahara Parinamakara Bhavas, whatever the final impact is there, that is, or final result is there, that is Vipaka. So there are 3 types of Vipaka: Madhura Vipaka, Amla Vipaka, Katu Vipaka. Okay, then separation of Sara and Kitta. So this happens in Grahani and Pakvashaya. and you require Pachaka Pitta and Samana Vayu for all the proper digestion as well as for separation. And you require Purishadhara Kala. You specially require Purishadhara Kala for separation of Sara and Kitta. And before separation of Sara and Kitta, the food should be properly digested. Then once the Sara and Kitta are divided or separated, then the Sara has to be absorbed. Sara should be absorbed. So Sara means it is nothing but Ahara Rasa. The Sara Bhaga of the food is nothing but Ahara Rasa that will be circulated all over the body for nourishment of all the things of your body. And you require Vata dosha, especially the Samana Vayu, as well as Vana Vayu also. Samana Vayu and Vana Vayu both are required here. And Pachaka Pitta for complete digestion of the food. And you require Pittadhara Kala as well as Purishadhara Kala both for the absorption. And finally, Vyana Vayu helps in circulation of this absorbed Ahara Rasa all over the body. So this is about absorption of Sara. And the location is usually this happens in Pakvashaya. Absorption happens in Pakvashaya according to Ayurveda. And there is a small topic in your syllabus, genesis of doshas during Ahara Paka. So Ahara Paka is having 3 stages, Madhura Avastha Paka, Amla Avastha Paka, Katu Avastha Paka. During Madhura Avastha Paka, there will be Kapha predominance. And also there will be some Kapha Udirana. There will be some frothy Kapha Udirana. It will be. But it is usually in the form of Kledaka Kapha. It is usually in the form of Kledaka Kapha. Whereas in Amla Avasthapaka, Acha Pitta secretion will be there, Acha Pitta Udirana will be there. And in Katu Avasthapaka, there may be more formation of Vayu. There will be formation of Vayu because of implication of various types of foods. Okay, further processing of Sara and Kitta. Sara and Kitta. Sara is the absorbable Sukshma part or nutritive part, whereas Kitta is the waste material. Now, Kitta is of 2 types, solid and liquid. The solid Kitta or the solid waste products will be excreted as Purisha with the help of Apanavada. Solid waste materials will be excreted as Purisha with the help of Apanavada. Whereas liquid waste materials or excess of water will be absorbed once into the system and it will be excreted as Mutra. It is excreted as Mutra. Now, Sara gets absorbed into the systems and nourishes all the dhatus. So, how it happens? Now, Sara gets absorbed from the Koshta with the help of Samana Vayu as well as Vyana Vayu, and it undergoes Bhutagni Paka. The 5 types of Bhutagnis act on the Ahara Rasa, and there will be further refinement of the Ahara Rasa. Means respective Bhutagnis will digest the respective Mahabhutas, so that this helps in Dhatvagnis to metabolize their respective nutrition. And finally, there will be Dhatvagni Paka. So whatever the Ahara Rasa is there, which has already undergone Bhutagni Paka, will be circulated all over the body with the help of Vyana Vayu, with the help of different Srotasas, and at the respective areas of Dhatus, there will be Dhatvagni Paka. The Dhatvagnis will be present near the Dhatus and they will be responsible for digestion of all this Ahara Rasa, and they will take the respective part which is required for the Dhatus. So that's why there will be nourishment of all these Dhatus. So Dhatvagni Paka, it is nothing but nourishment of individual Dhatus. The process is Ahara Rasa treated by Bhutagni reaches the Dhatus through the Srotas with the help of Vyana Vayu, and respective Dhatvagni metabolize the required nourishment present in the Ahara Rasa and assimilates into the Dhatus. And during this process, there may be formation of byproducts such as Upadhatus and Malas, which will be transported to the respective areas for usage or excretion. So this is Dhatvagni Paka. Now, this process of reaching of ahara rasa to the dhatus is explained with the help of three dhatu poshana nyayas. That is Kshiradati Nyaya, Kedarakula Nyaya, and Kalekapota Nyaya. So these three nyayas are analogies. They explain about how the ahara rasa reaches to the dhatus. Okay. They do not tell anything about dhatvagni paka or ahara paka. They only say about how the ahara rasa will reach the dhatus. Okay. This is about ahara paka. So I hope this was a useful session, and if any doubts are there, you can ask me.
Sir, there is a question.
Yes.
Intake of herbal drugs are related with their rasa or the vipaka.
No, rasa is a different aspect and vipaka is a different aspect. Rasa, this is only about knowing the action before you are taking. So if you are going to take or if you are going to just assess the rasa, then you can have an imagination that Madhura Rasa Dravya is having some action on the body, such as it can increase all the dhatus. But Vipaka will give you the more definite details about what is the action of the particular.
Hello, sir.
Yes, actually.
In between, it is why your voice is breaking, sir.
Yeah, your voice is also breaking. Hello.
Sir. Sir.
Yeah, should I repeat the answer?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, see, actually, technically speaking, rasa implicates or rasa will give you an idea about the action of the drug before taking the drug itself. Is if a drug is having Madhura Rasa, whether a drug or any of the food stuff, if it is having Madhura Rasa, then we can have an idea that what will be its action. But the action may change if the vipaka is changed. For example, you are going to take milk where rasa is also madhura, vipaka is also madhura, then you can assess the action of the milk by taking while taking the milk itself. There is no need to wait for 12 hours for complete digestion. But if vipaka is different, then the action will be completely different than the rasa. That's it.
Okay, sir. And there one more question. According to Dallana Acharya, Pittadara Kala is Majjadara Kala. Explain.
Pardon?
According to Dallana Acharya,
Huh.
Pittadara Kala is Majjadara Kala.
Majjadara Kala.
Sir, explain. Okay.
Okay. Right now, I don't have any answer for this. I will collect the answer and I will give it to Akshay by tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Preraka Suchakaschaiva Vachako Darshakasthatha Shikshako Bodhakaschaiva Shadet Guru Smritaha. As the shloka says, the one who inspires, the one who informs, the one who recites, the one who guides, the one who teaches, and the one who awakens. These are the six gurus to remember. By these words, I would like to thank today's guest speaker, Dr. Prashant Kekuda sir, for enlightening us about concept of understanding of Ahara Paka and digestion and metabolism in Ayurveda. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time. It means a lot. And secondly, I would like to thank all the participants for attending the Kriya Pradipika webinar series 2020. Another thing to be informed regarding tomorrow's session, first session by Dr. Sir Shanti Bhushan R. Handur, sir, dealing with the topic of understanding of Tridosha Siddhanta at 12 p.m. And second session by Dr. N.R. Navodaya Raju, sir, dealing with the topic of understanding of the odors at 3 p.m. Please do attend the webinar. Thank you.
Okay, I thank the whole management as well as the principal and the HOD of the Kriya Shirra department, and especially Akshay for providing me an opportunity to talk in this session. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, Akshay.
हाँ सर.
ಹೇಳಿ.
ಸರ್.
ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್, ಕೇಳತ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ, ನಾಳೆದು ಒಂದು ಲಿಂಕ್ ಕಳಿಸಿರು ನೋಡೋಣಂತೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಬಂದರೆ ಬರಲಿ.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್, ಎಸ್ ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
ಇವತ್ತಿದು ಹೇಗೆ ಸೆಷನ್ನು?
ಹಾಂ ರೀ ಸರ್, ಕೇಳಿಸಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಹಾಂ, ಈಗ ಕೇಳತ್ತೈತೆ ಸರ್.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸೆಷನ್ ಹೆಂಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದೆ?
ಹಾಂ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಸರ್, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಸರ್. ನನ್ನ ಪಿ ಜಿ ಡೇಸ್ ನೆನಪಾಯ್ತು ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್, ಸರಿ ಸರಿ, ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ,
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
ಒಂದು
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ಏನು?
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು,
ಓಕೆ,
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್.
ಒಂದು
ಏನು ಹೇಳ
ಲೆಟರ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು
ಆಯ್ತು ರೀ ಸರ್, ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿ
ಕಳ್ಸಿದ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಓಕೆನಾ?
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್, ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅಕ್ಷಯ್. ಓಕೆ, ಬಾಯ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್, ಬಾಯ್ ಸರ್.
ಬಾಯ್.